China. Today it is one of the most economically developed countries in the world, ranking second after the United States. It is a country that manufactures absolutely any product you use on a daily basis, and its progressive development is moving at an incredible pace. However, it wasn't always like this. Centuries ago, China couldn't even dream of such success. It was a poor, backward country, and the head of the Chinese Republic was a dictator-tyrant named Mao Zedong. Like other dictators, he was preoccupied with his cult of personality and didn't care about the people. At one point, he declared war on sparrows, implemented reforms that reportedly resulted in the deaths of 30 to 35 million people, and published a pocket-sized holy book of his own quotes that every Chinese person was required to study. That was enough to intimidate and subdue an entire country and rule it until the end of his life. In this video, we will discuss this dictator. Welcome to the Hustler channel, and enjoy watching. Mao Zedong began his political career at a young age. After studying in Beijing, where he became acquainted with Marxists and anarchist ideas, he came to the conclusion that he wanted to stay in his homeland and free it from tyrants. In 1920, at the age of 27, he joined the communists. Believing that only a revolution following the Russian model could fundamentally change the situation in the country, Mao Zedong began conducting underground activities aimed at spreading Marxist-Leninist ideas among the population. In 1921, Mao Zedong became the secretary of the Hunan branch of the Communist Party of China. However, he was expelled a year later due to ineffective recruitment. Mao's subsequent life was not particularly peaceful. He would either organize protests against the government or go into hiding from it. This life continued until 1943, when a turning point occurred. Mao Zedong was first elected as the chairman of the Politburo and the secretariat of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China, and 2 years later, he became the chairman of the Communist Party of China. This period marked the beginning of the formation of Mao's cult of personality. On October 1, 1949, Mao Zedong proclaimed the establishment of the People's Republic of China with its capital in Beijing. Mao himself became the chairman of the government of the new republic. With his ascent to the country's top position, Mao began consolidating his power. First, he declared the New Democracy regime and started distributing land to the poor while reducing land grants to the wealthy. Factories started operating, and trains began running on railways. However, not everything was rosy. Mao Zedong was eager to make a major breakthrough in the economy to surpass the Soviet Union and achieve the economic level of Great Britain. He was also concerned about the lack of revolutionary spirit among the masses. In 1958, he proclaimed the period of the Great Leap Forward. The authorities told the common people, 3 years of arduous struggle equal 10,000 years of happiness. The Great Leap Forward aimed to transform agrarian China into an industrial leader. Unattainable production targets were set for metallurgical plants. During winter, workers were stripped of their warm clothing to increase production output, working faster to avoid freezing. Later, Mao Zedong decided to organize all rural populations into communes. Life in the communes was highly collectivized, with no room for private life or speech. Each commune had to not only provide food for itself and nearby cities, but also produce industrial products, with steel being the main focus, melted in small furnaces in backyard settings. However, all those furnaces were only capable of producing low-quality cast iron that nobody needed. In order to invest even more money in metallurgy, the communists decided to save on the purchase of imported fertilizers. To fertilize the land in some way, the authorities sent farmers to collect waste. Special areas were designated behind each settlement where all the waste was brought, since there were no sewage systems in the villages at that time. Every morning, the villagers went there and collected natural fertilizers. Sometimes there was a shortage of feces, and different people from the villages had to literally fight over them. The officials' desire to earn points with Mao Zedong led to fake statistics on crop yields, which, in turn, led to the threat of famine in China already in the first year of the Great Leap Forward policy. When the truth could no longer be hidden, Mao Zedong came up with his quote, "What to do if there is no food? Nothing serious, just eat less." The party taught people to interpret all the dictator's words literally, without any subtext. And when Mao Zedong said that sparrows consumed a lot of grain, the people immediately began to wage war against the birds. People started walking through fields, parks, and forests in groups of hundreds. They made noise with tin cans, shouted, and fired shots. They did all this to prevent the birds from resting. Sparrows cannot stay in the air for more than 15, 20 minutes, and the weakened birds would fall to the ground, after which the Chinese simply caught and killed them. The active period of this madness lasted for 6 months, from spring until the beginning of autumn. During this time, Chinese communists killed approximately 2 billion sparrows. This completely changed the ecosystem, and pests, with nothing to hinder them, destroyed all subsequent crops. The Chinese Republic was engulfed in a famine. Many cases of cannibalism were recorded. According to official Chinese statistics, this famine claimed the lives of more than 15 million people. However, some historians cite a figure of 35 million. But the famine that occurred solely due to the main ruler didn't bother him much. Mao Zedong proclaimed the Cultural Revolution. He wrote a small-sized book that easily fit in a pocket. It was a little red book with all the quotes of the great ruler. Mao Zedong equated it to the Bible. The edition of the quote collection from 1966 to 1971 amounted to 800 million copies. It was during that time that new Red Guards appeared in China. Made sure that everyone carried Mao Zedong's quote collection with them. If someone refused to do so, they could be brutally beaten and sent to labor camps. At the time when the Red Guards were patrolling the streets, Mao Zedong began to contemplate his own death. The closer he came to his end, the more urgently he wanted to find the recipe for immortality. According to Mao's doctor, the Chinese leader dreamt of longevity. Every morning, the Chinese people woke up with the slogan, "Long live Chairman Mao." He aspired to achieve longevity through sexual relations with virgins. Therefore, the women in his bed frequently changed. Most of them were girls from simple peasant families, recruited from special cultural groups within military units. Initially, their task was to entertain soldiers and the leadership by singing and dancing. The leader would choose concubines from among them. Due to Mao Zedong's numerous lovers, he eventually contracted venereal diseases. Additionally, he had health problems primarily related to hygiene. He never took baths but was wiped down with wet, hot towels instead. The great ruler did not brush his teeth. In the mornings, he rinsed his mouth with green tea and chewed the leaves. This resulted in a green plaque forming on his teeth. When the doctor warned him about the need for hygiene, he would reply, "Tigers don't brush their teeth." In the end, Mao Zedong never found his recipe for longevity and passed away at the age of 83. The political party organized a mourning ceremony where young girls wept and bid farewell to their leader. Mao Zedong's body was embalmed. After those long 33 years, China was able to breathe a sigh of relief. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a comment and subscribe to the channel, as well as become channel sponsors. This was Hustler. Until we meet again.